So godly men fear too worldliness in women, similarly in the same way that we as godly women fear worldliness in men. Mara, before you meet your godly husband, before you meet this delightful man, you will have waited, been long-suffering and patient, and there will have come so much derision and affliction of your person for being patient that you will get dissed, you will get mocked, for turning 35 without a husband, 40 in my case. You will be made to be insecure while encircled by a bunch of worldly men that are sizing you up the very same way that worldly men size up women. I'm gonna go and pick in the club the prettiest girl. I'm gonna go and pick in the social circle the one with the wealthiest dad. I want the one with the degree. I want the one this and that, so as to amp up their street cred. It's never about true compatibility and about whether or not this can actually work in the future. It's about what is it going to look like in society in public. It's about creating power couples as approved by the world, instead of a true compatibility with which you can raise children up in the admonition of the Lord, be in agreement with one another, serve the Lord together, and therefore also minimize the amount of striving in the household because you get along so much. They don't see important, meaningful things in relationships, and so they are the stuff of confusion. And because they are looking at you the way that they look at worldly women, they will thoroughly even gaze upon a Christian woman because they don't see they don't see the difference. Babana fella, she's pretty, but I've seen something prettier. She's well-spoken, but I've seen it there. Yeah, nah. My biggest challenge in life is the fact that I'm suffering the way that I'm suffering. My age too, but I wasn't always 40. At some point I was 30, I was 29. The thing that has caused worldly men to pass me up for a decade until I was so old that some of them would say that I've only got a few years on me left is my loss of socioeconomic standing, my loss of financial standing, my loss of clout, my loss of recommendedness on the part of planet citizens. In other words, I did not come highly recommended by worldly folk. Listen, my whole family is ungodly, so they don't highly recommend me. I am not gazed at by them as a wonderful wife, like I raised her right. Well, not so much a virgin, but you get my point. She is a worthwhile woman. Godliness is despised by the world, and my family don't love God. Therefore, I am not the prized possession of my mom. I was not the prized possession of my dad. I am certainly not the prized niece of my uncle or aunties. They don't look at me as something that's awesome for a man. And unfortunately, in certain societies, when a woman does not come highly recommended, they are not going to marry right. But thank God, we are people of a different status and motioned into decision by not so much the rules of the kingdoms of this world, but of the kingdom of God. And so therefore, the glowing reviews that come to Christian girls ought come from the body of Christ. And if they don't come from the world, it is to be expected. Because the world hates disciples. Listen, worldly men and women these days, because we're in the age of the sexual revolution, they frown upon virginity. They see no value in it. There was a man who came into my space recently. It's a long story, I'm not going to give too many details, but he basically lied to try and get into my pantyhose. And he was literally, utterly, and vehemently, voluminously turned off by my chastity. He was he literally thought of me as naught because I don't do sex before marriage. Was the mindset. The fact that there is no deep and glaring, gawking, gaping appreciation for chastity in worldly men is the first red flag. Ababoni, ubuvishingantoni. If anything, if he can prosper to break your virginity before the wedding night, telling himself that we are engaged, it's enough. He would not go out of his way to prevent you from sleeping with him. He would not go out of his way to protect you from stumbling in that fashion. Because he will not value your chastity the way that a godly man values a woman that's been waiting in celibacy or even virginity altogether. For him, Christian couples, truly consecrated men and women of God, do everything in their power to avoid having sex before marriage. They will have the passions, they will be in love with each other. They will desire one another strongly, the lust will be there. But they will hook up things like chaperones, accountability partners. They will make sure they don't spend time alone together. They will even go out of their way to make sure that they don't kiss before marriage. They will work on it, and on top of that, they will not beat around the bush, literally for years before they get married. That is a man that sees the value of chastity, for he has been made to see things the way that God sees them. He has been given a heart of flesh that replaced a heart of stone. The Lord has sprinkled clean water on him and he is now clean. The Lord has given him his affections. He has made him see the world the right way up instead of upside down. And so he now hates that which God hates and loves that which God loves, and is grieved by walking in sin and repents from it. That is a man that is striving, and so you don't have to fight within Dabeoguti. He is so fleshy. You are not going to have to struggle with getting him to come home on time. You guys, you're not going to struggle with him elevating importance to his boys over you. He's not going to rather spend 10 hours playing video games with his boy on your couch without considering that you're married couple what is he doing on my couch until 12 p.m. He will not insist on, like I said, staying out late. He will also see the value of being with you when doing groceries, the value of participating in family affairs, of the fact that you care that he should choose what palette of furniture, color, to make the table. While you might be the one that out here is telling the decorators, put it left, put it right, he will understand that it is important to you for him to approve that color. He will not just sit back and do nothing. It is a partnership. You are the wind beneath his wings, but he is also going to have his prayers hindered. Do you understand? If he doesn't listen to you, they understand the sense of partnership. They are compassionate. They are, considerate that way. That while he appreciates and respects the fact that you honor godly roles, women's roles in a godly fashion in the household, he will not go out of his way to pile up the sink with dirty dishes, because it is your job, woman, to wash them. He will not invite his friends over on a Saturday to come and eat lunch without running it by you first, to let you know that you're gonna have to cook for 12 instead of for just 3. Worldly men be out here populating into Nabangani, or they just hop up and they just rock up without running. Like a worldly man so honors his wife that his boys know to call in first before Vagasha. Kenna, is your wife cool with it? Sha. And then she will prepare a plate for everybody. While it will be your duty to take care of the matters of the household, you are not going to come back from a trip of 4 days and find the toilets unflushed, the kids' diapers not changed, nobody going to school, TV running 24 hours a day, dishes unwashed, curtains unclosed. He will have consideration for Indabiuchumfazwam. What would she do if she was here? He's not going to endure you to domestic servanthood, subjugate you to the servitude of serving a man that can't even so much as put down the toilet seat or flush it. Kunjalo, kune consideration, considerateness. But worldly men, when you start to lament about easy chasing gaga, because he will say, Mara what do you want me to do? I bring bread. Like they just don't get basic stuff. Essentially, a godly man will reprieve you of that which tends to wear a woman out, in the same way that you will reprieve him of that which wears a man out. So therefore, it is written of the Proverbs 31 woman. Sorry, I don't know why I say 7. The 7 one is the immoral woman. But it is written of the Proverbs 31 woman that she considers a field and buys it, and she sees that her merchandise is profitable. So even though she's not the sole breadwinner in this household, she recognizes the benefit of not being too much of a heavyweight, a log of wood on the neck of her husband. If she can relieve him of his financial burdens, it is beneficial, but without making him feel like without you we are like proper, will live, will be okay. She is sufficiently godly and submissive to make him feel needed, but also not so overwhelming and overbearing and so over-exhausting of him that he will feel like if he doesn't do certain things, he's done for as a man. He will feel like he's covered, he's got like that, his wife has got this, and similarly too will she feel like he got this. It is a swimming partnership of two very considerate souls, because after all, we serve God first before we will serve each other. We are God's first before we are each other's. And seeing as the Lord says that you must serve your fellow man the way that you would serve yourself, love your fellow man, the way that you would love yourself. We are guided by godly principles instead of our own flesh, our own carnality, our corporeal senses, that which is what we want right now, primordial and primitive and like needs, a very foundational, rudimentary, needs, want, eat, grant, sex. There is just an inherent cooperation amidst godly people that makes it not even too onerous a task to interrogate, to figure out what is a person in this marriage supposed to be doing exactly. We inherently get it, but we also help each other along. However, we don't demand for our husbands to wash dishes, for our husbands to tend to the affairs of the household the way that women would. We don't demand that they go 50-50 with us on finances and all that jazz. We merely appreciate it when he helps change the baby diaper at night instead of you as the woman. We appreciate it. We appreciate when we come home and the dishes are washed, even though it would have been you washing them. We appreciate that after the first 7 times you complained, he does put down the toilet seat and he aims right. We appreciate that he's the one that put his socks back in the drawer the way that you prefer to put them, because he saw that that's what you prefer. Although we don't insist on it, and we don't get angry when he doesn't do it right, but we feel like a cherry on top that, thank God, he realizes that this is how I prefer it. I like it this way, so he gets me, and he is cooperative with my spirit, so I'm not always striving with irritation, gnashing my teeth in a corner. That worldly men are so stuck in their ways, they're stubborn. They're stubborn to accommodate your whims as a woman, but so too are worldly women also stubborn to accommodate the whims of men. That's why we wait on God for each other. And that's why even when you find her chilling around at the age of 40, yes, like it, you don't care. Living in an ageistic society, that she's all that old. But I'm being insulted. So this young man, his content, I love it. Precisely because he reminds me that they make them like that. That the Lord makes them pious. The Lord makes them flee from sex. He makes them like Joseph. The Lord makes them cooperative. The Lord makes them desire to build themselves godly character from as young as this. I have been born again since I was 26 and a half. And the whole time God has been pruning me, building me, raising me up. And I'm still single at 40. This young man looks like he's my age. He looks like my age when I first came to Christ, 26. So if I, Karabo Hlongwane, was born again at the age of 26, and at 40 I'm still single, if there is another version of me that is a man, if there is a man that got born again at 22, 23, 25, and is still single at 42, he has had all that time to develop all this conviction. He started out just like this 26-year-old man. This young man that I just showed you now on YouTube looks like he could be about 26, 25, around the same age that I got saved. If the Lord should see it fit to keep him single until he's 40, this man is not going to change his mind about what he wants in a wife. He will still be this guy, only refined, only sanctified, only better, only cultivated, even more pristine. So basically, I'm waiting for a very shiny shoe that started out kind of dusk. They exist because I was this godly, if not even more feverish when I was newly saved. I was this determined for righteousness, for purity. At 26, when I was still nicely viable, and according to this worthless dude that said that I don't have much mileage left on me, I was at that stage with plenty of mileage. Essentially, I was what they would call the most eligible bachelorette, right? I was young enough and I had everything to offer. Educated, strong career, sought after, blah blah. I lost everything. And now I am apparently not as marketable as I was at 26. Yet at 26, I was this girl. And now I'm a little bit more refined because of age. I've come a full circle. Do you understand what I'm saying? If at all, I could be like that at 26 and I'm like this at 40. There are men out there. Because God does the same marvelous transformative work in men as he does in women. That got born again at 25. And for literally almost 2 decades, God has been chipping away at them, refining them. For women who are pretty much my age. Understand, if as a man you could wait around and still be single and not allow yourself to fall into the temptation of marrying real quickly, because frankly guys, let's just put this out there, we know it's a reality. The ball of getting married is literally in the court of the man. So if a man is single at 43, he's single because he chose to be single at 43. There is no man that gets to that age that who has had marriage elude them, that didn't quite get married on time, didn't quite get married on time because he just like Papa, like, you know, with us women, we gotta wait for these guys to get down on their knees and propose. Whereas a man, if he gets rejected in his proposal to one woman, he just moves on and tries to see if he can't propose to another. The ball of getting married is in a man's court. He can say with 75% precision of accuracy, I want to get married at 30. And actually get married at 30. Like men, they're the ones that can do that. They're the ones that can set that kind of goal. Because women are always thirsty, salivating after marriage. And so therefore, when a man is out here popping out a diamond ring, they're like, yes, Jabu, yes. So a man can determine to get married at 30. And with a slight standard deviation, get married at 30. And by slight standard deviation, I mean maybe you could get married at 29. Or maybe you could get married at 31. We are the ones whose standard deviations are violent. We are to be trying to get married at 22. And we are only getting married at 41. Because the ball of marriage is in the men's courts. So if a man is 40, 41, 42, 39, 37, and unmarried, no muntu has just decided ukuthi angifuna ukushada lana. I don't want to get married. He's had girlfriends maybe. They have come and gone, but there's no one that has made him feel like I'm going to Stens and I'm going to buy a ring. It is in his court. A 37-year-old single man is only 37 and single because he just did not want to get married to anybody that he met in the run-up to. So if you are waiting on the Lord for a wife as a man, if you're waiting on the Lord as on the Lord for a husband as a woman, if you're waiting, you need to take such things into consideration as a woman. You need to recognize that there is no 42-year-old man, if you are 40, that is going to pass you up because you're not young enough, based on your age, that has been waiting since he was just like this young gentleman on YouTube, 26, for a wife, fleeing Delilah, fleeing Jezebel, fleeing Solomon's wives, that's going to pass you up, that is a hand-to-glove fit to what he asked for when he was just 26, because you're not 40. You must understand it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen because for him to get to that age without marrying and without having children says that it was an intentional choice to basically see what else is out there. And Abe's been waiting on the Lord for something that he specifically understood can only come from him. Trevor Noah is my age. I keep looking at that guy. He's worldly. Born again. Mara, I keep looking at him and all of his eligibility. He's my age, so he's 40 this year. And I keep being like, dude, when are you getting married? When are you having a child? It appears he is not fazed by the fact that I'm 40 and I'm yet to be a dad. I'm 40 and I'm yet to be a husband. Do you think Trevor Noah wanted a baby with, who's that chick? Give me one of these girls that he's dated. Olewa, one, don't fall in love. Dua Lipa. Do you think that Trevor Noah wanted a baby with Dua Lipa, but then Dua whatever was like, no? Do you think that he wanted to marry her but then she rejected his proposal? Or do you think that Trevor hung out in their chill and was like, no, this is not it? No, I think it's the latter. Proper. The decision to get married is unfortunately, depending on how you want to look at things, in the hands of the man. And when he has found the one that is bone of his bone, flesh of his flesh, he will propose marriage to her. So, you will all be very violently surprised when one day, out of the blue, after just dating for 2 months, 3 months, Trevor Noah will be out here, rocking up with a woman, probably maybe not even somebody in the entertainment industry, just some Jane on the street that he will put a ring on, and she will start popping 27,000 babies for him. When all along you've been like, but what's this eligible bachelor been doing? What's happening all this time? Trevor, are the women rejecting you or are you rejecting them? No, he's rejecting them. Rejection is God's protection. If it's not right, it's not supposed to lodge. But do not gaze upon a 40-year-old or a 42-year-old or a 43-year-old man and imagine that they all of them want 22-year-olds. A man tends to get to 40 without children or having been married because all this time. He got frustrated. So he is not going to walk past a 40-year-old woman that is the match. If he had met her at 26, he might have gotten married then to her. But no, she just so happened to only rock up in 2025. So do you seriously think that if Trevor were to meet a 40-year-old woman that is literally hand to glove, what it is that he wants, that he's going to pass her up because she's 40? You don't know. Binaya Percy Sledge is absolutely applicable in this instance. When a man loves a woman, nothing can keep him away, etc. When a man loves a woman, her age won't matter. And especially when they're godly, they're not going to have a carnal mindset concerning it. Anybody that is confused, beating around the bush, this gentleman is not the only one that I've been watching. This is the other woman that also does content on YouTube. And she did a short that really encouraged me the other day. In her short, she was like, confusion is your sign. Thank you. Her short was the name of her short was Confusion is Your Sign. I can't tell you what her name is either because I'm not just subscribing to these people and I don't know their names. But her short was Confusion is Your Sign. And she was like, girl, dude, if you are confused, stop asking God. Is this it? Am I supposed to be here? What's his name is? Like, that is your sign. God is not the God of confusion but of peace. If you are beating around the bush wondering, asking a whole bunch of questions, if there is no stable, solid conviction pegged in the ground, pumpel. Confusion is your sign. Indifference is your sign. Reverse psychology is your sign. Insensitivity to your exquisite pain is your sign. If a person is standing back and doing nothing about your situation because he is indecisive, that's your sign. Apprehension is your sign. Persnicketyness is your sign. Finickiness is your sign. Pride is your sign. Ageism is your sign. Narcissism is your sign. Feelings of insecurity towards you is your sign. Like indecision in a kingdom so rarely entered into is your sign. Like people don't just traipse into the kingdom of God. They have to be called. And no one can come to the Father unless to the Son unless the Father draws them. No one can choose God. And amidst all of those that are called, only a few are chosen. The road is narrow that leads to life and few find it. It is also called a hard road. It is written in God's word that many at their last day will strive. The Bible says strive to enter into the kingdom of God. For many on the last day will try to enter in and not be able. It's not an easy feat to be a disciple of God. It's not. A real true disciple, that is. Therefore, when you've been waiting on the Lord for a fellow disciple and you meet one that is handed love according to everything that you want from him, you're not going to have a mindset that there's more where they came from. Honey, because you tend to have waited for 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 years, 15. It is barely entered into, sparsely scattered. And even within those few and far between members of the kingdom that there is literally only 1 or 2 or 3 that are a true compatible match to you, personality-wise and otherwise. You are therefore not going to meet a citizen of a kingdom so hard to enter into that checks all the boxes of what you want in a woman, except for the fact that she's not in her 20s or at least early 30s. You are not going to walk by her. You are not going to shop at their store. The road is narrow that leads to life and few people find it. He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. The wily woman, she is scattered all across these streets, is all over the show like Smarties. She's low-hanging fruit, and she is cunning, beguiling, and seduces you herself. She is extremely influential. She draws you in as with a steam, a smoke, some pheromones, and so when you inhale them, you can only be dizzy. That's the only thing that you can achieve in these streets, be dizzy. And when you don't have the Holy Spirit, you will not snap out of that dizzy. You will get dragged away by her. So we are living in a world where men are being perpetually seduced and pulled into corners by licentious Jezebelian women. And it is only those who are a cut above the rest like Joseph who will flee without their loincloth on them because it was ripped off their bodies by Potiphar's wife from sexual sin to a point of even taking in their stride, imprisonment. I have spoken about this before and I will say it time and time again. During the time of his imprisonment, he himself likely never imagined he's gonna come out of jail, but he did. And when he comes out, this at last is bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. And guess what? It's 40. The Lord loves Sarah, particularly with the fact that he gave her a child in her old age. Due to the fact that we are made obsolete, written off as only a last few years left on her when we are older. And so the Lord makes us glorious in old years. He gives us miracles in older years to basically turn the world on its head and say, how dare you insult my children? How dare you insult my daughters for being 45 without children? How dare you annihilate the self-esteem of my precious. It's written in God's word that about a woman. The peaceable and quiet spirit of a woman is precious. That's the word that is used there, precious, in the sight of God. Someone that is gazed upon with that level of adoringness, endearment. Like God is just besotted with it. You be out, you're calling it 5 years left on your mileage. Rejection is God's protection. But if you don't encourage yourself in the things of God, if you don't do that, you will flounder under the nakedness of this world and its insistence on insulting you. If you don't remind yourself of who Jesus is, you will get insulted. I'm 40 years old and I do feel a severity of a lack of self-esteem. I'm down and I'm out. And it bereaves me to watch baby videos or watch people be pregnant, get married in a way that it never used to, because I feel like my ship has sailed and my hope is deferred and so my heart is sick. And it is in this season that the devil loves, and when you are at the lowliest with your self-confidence. When he out here is literally trying to make you accommodate then, seeing as you are being insulted. Seeing as you are being insulted by men who are like, yo, unafoting zogenzani. Honey, there will be one, and that's the point of this particular story, that will rock up and praise you loftily as a 40-year-old. And speak of you and to you like you are wonderful. But he is rubbish, scum, gunk, and dirt. When there is one man out of a cornucopia of 28 that is calling you wonderful, in the midst of all of these others, what he's doing on that day is riding on your low self-esteem. He is riding on the fact that nobody else is looking at you. He out here is looking at you the way that Akon looks at a woman in that music video. Nobody wanna see us together, but you do me, I know, 'cause I got you, babe. He will romanticize and glorify your Cinderella state. And he will present himself as, I'm the only one that can love you, baby. Literally, he will walk in a syllogistical era and premise and say, premise his argument around the fact that you have no one and say, look at all these men treating you like you ain't jack, baby. I know your value. But when you look at him and his gangster statistics, he's practically a prostitute. When you look at him and his gangster statistics, Uyagula, he's HIV positive. When you look at him and his gangster statistics, he's got 2 ex-wives, some baby mamas in these streets whose kids he has not even acknowledged are his, but are his. When you look at his rap sheet, he has got a history of wife beating. When you look at his rap sheet, he is rude. When you were talking with him, he couldn't even articulate himself in a way so as to make you feel safe in his company. So how much worse will he be over time, right? He has already rudely mistreated you, but he thinks that he's the only one that can love you because he is chilling in a climate of men that are looking at you in the age of 32 and saying of you, enough for me as a 32-year-old man to think you're fly. But you've only got 5 years left on your mileage. He knows that there are men who say rubbish like that. He knows that there are carnal men scattered in these streets that say, if only you were maybe 35, maybe I'd holler at you, I'd send you a DM, maybe I'd slide into I would slide into your DMs. He knows that you are basically suffering from a severity of confidence loss, an extremity of devastation of self-esteem. And so he will ride on that. He's pernicious, he's stealthy, just like Janus and Jambres. This message is to alert you of men like these rather. I have done plenty of video about men who insult women because it's just their way of controlling them. So this message is not that, even though I have touched on it, highlighted it briefly. Hence even mentioning the one guy, the 32-year-old, that says to himself that, Mina, I've got no time left on my mileage, or little time, or little road left on my mileage. Right? I don't have much left to me. These men that will insult you now will have displayed with insulting you today that they can insult you tomorrow. But I've already spoken about these men before. I, however, have not highlighted the ones that I'm now presently dealing with, like dastardly dregs of society dwellers, like lowlifes. Do you understand? Absolute, comprehensive, violent, voluminously and voluptuously worthless lowlifes, chilling in the dregs of society that are frankly rejected by every other woman. Every woman wants nothing to do with them. These are now also a great risk when you are at the height of your waiting. Like when you've been waiting for, but now you're Sarah, proper. You not only have a geriatric womb, but you've also menopaused. You've menopaused, and so there's no way you can have a child. Miracles, according to you, have come and gone because, frankly, the days of Moses and the Red Sea splitting, those are of old. That stuff ain't coming anymore. It is when you are spent like this, in your patience, when you've thrown in the towel and given up, where you are most vulnerable as a woman to accommodate such low lives, that this here is daylight robbery, evidently so. Like anybody with eyes to see and without any ability to even read can see that lana uyatshontshelwa umuntu, uyathathelwa. These are the kinds of men that come into the lives of women and their lives improve instead of the women's lives. They tank a woman's statistics, but in equalizing this whole equation, the women elevate them. That's the creep that I'm out here doing this video to warn you against. Hence why the title of my message today is Broke and Ambitious, and then Petty Witches Twice, Be Glad. Yazi guys, man. I'm tired, ne? My life is broken. I'm swollen with sorrow. Being told in the spirit by demons that there's nothing that makes me cry more than being told in the spirit by entities that like there's no one else coming. Come on. Like, look at your life. I mean, don't you see that you're gonna eventually end up committing suicide or something, or you're gonna apostatize? Just take it, because you are, I don't know how many times entities have literally used these words verbatim. She's in denial about Christianity. Verbatim. Literally demons speaking to me like they're normal humans and saying in my ear, speaking in the third person. So basically speaking about me. She's in denial about Christianity. Almost, you could almost sense or feel the wagging of the head as these things are being spoken. Like, you know, keeping a straight face while you say to a person, don't you see that this Jesus thing is just, it's messed up your life. And this demonic attack is coming to me from witches that are trying so hard not to mourn on the day when I ride into the sunset with my clean slate, gorgeous, absolutely loving, godly husband and commence a fruitful future that is going to glorify the King of the universe, so that they don't have to be bereft, mournful, scorned, and afflicted. They are using witchcraft that is so below the belt, riding on my self-esteem issues, that if I did not come here and speak today, I would have to just ruminate on these things. Kiliwan, on some marabatwa bantela man. The past couple of days, I've been getting a flood of nightmares of my former friends, whole chunk of them, and family members. Bantella, throwing themselves in my face, mocking me for being alone, having nothing, having no one. With nothing but the intention, in that spirit do they come, of making me accept trolls, do you understand? Essentially that which I would never have looked at before. But hey, at least just something. So they are helping filthy, worthless men take me up. I did say the world hates disciples. So as a child of God, as a daughter of God, in the society that you live in, if at all it does not love God, it's not going to highly recommend you. You are not going to be the diamond of the ball that's going to get chosen by the queen. You're not going to be the diamond of the ball chosen by the queen to be the most eligible bachelor here. No, you're not. You are rather going to be the ostracized woman that is the scorn of that society if it hates God. And it will only be a man given eyes to see and ears to hear that will snatch you up from that environment, marry you. And in and of himself, he will be of such high value. In and of himself, he will be of such high esteem in the sight of God that it will come as a shock to all in that community that was ostracizing you, treating you like trash, that kind of man chose you instead of one of their very many random debauched women. You must wait on God, because godly men are the only ones here in these streets that understand the value of godliness enough for them to appreciate you even more. Precisely because you are persecuted. Precisely because you have been impoverished. Precisely because your walk in the Lord has made you like Job. It has cost you everything. Precisely because of his observation of the cost that you counted to be a disciple and how you've never abandoned faith the whole time. Because naked I came into this world, naked shall I leave. God gave, now God will take away. Yet blessed be the name of the Lord, and in all that he did, Job did not sin. The observation of your exquisite piety in the midst of so much devastating loss, that is the turn on. That is the thing that makes him be like, this at last is bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. I mean, listen, I already did a video that I shared, an 11-part series. So it was 22 parts including animation, where I told you my husband is wealthy. Understand, a wealthy man, Mashankura, out here wads of cash, bleeding from his nails. He's not going to just be left alone to hop up and down in these streets and merely exist. He's not going to be given peace by women. How much more, therefore, if a man is godly and will never cheat, are you going to be knocked on the door of by barbaric women trying to marry you, trying to sleep with you, trying to show you that they can bake the best pecan pie? He is a man that is having to flee sexual sin. There is a short, another one on YouTube that God just brought up to me in my mind right now, right? Of this one millionaire, billionaire business owner guy, like the chief of some company, and he's trying to recruit a secretary, a PA or a secretary or whatever, right? And in the lobby, the short starts with him interviewing one woman, a very gorgeous woman. The short starts with him interviewing one lady, very, very beautiful, good looking. And the interview ends and he's like, very well, my team will be in touch with you. And then this very handsome young man that is like the lead, the CEO of this company, goes and opens his door, asks this woman, thank you, we'll be in touch. And then looks in the lobby at all these women that are waiting to be interviewed. And all of them across the color spectrum, Asian, black, white, Hispanic, gorgeous. These absolutely enamoring, beautiful women, chilling, waiting to be interviewed. And they're all batap lady for by a Miko officine. And then in the corner, there is this older woman that's very simple, very plain. And she's a mom, you can tell she's got grandchildren. And she's sitting there waiting in the lobby for this interview with the rest of these women. And this gentleman, after this interview with this a blonde girl, goes out, scans his lobby, and then looks at the woman, the mom, and is like, you come in. And this woman, and the man closes the door behind her, asks her, what's your experience, what have you done? She's like this and that, and explains very briefly to him what she's done. And this man is like, when can you start? When can you start? Just like that, she got the job. Because he was not trying to play with that. He was not trying to cheat on his wife. He was not trying to be tempted by a woman that's out there going to stumble him because he's here on the job. And that's it. Yeah, that's a godly man for you. When he is wealthy, when he is exceptionally handsome, when he is what is called the most eligible bachelor in these streets, he will be aware of just how savage women can be in the world, groveling over each other, stepping on one another's skulls and crushing them to get him to look at them. He will also be aware of how dangerous it is to accommodate an ungodly woman, and he will go out of his way to recruit the plainest looking PA, an old mama with 7 grandchildren, because she gets the job done. Ain't not trying to deal in these streets with some woman with a miniskirt that's going to stumble him every day, pick up papers at the photocopy machine, strategically at a time when he is exiting his office so that he can see her glutes. He's not trying to be stumbled like that. So he will have a plain-faced PA lady that's, like I said, the grandmama of 7 children, that's already done her time in these streets, and he will go out of his way to avoid all these women that keep on sending him flowers to his office, all these women that keep on sending him little baked goods treats, all these women that conveniently happen to be in the parking lot at the same time when he's going home. All these women, he will avoid them like the plague, because literally there is more where they came from. When a man has been like that all these years and he's still single, comprehend that there will be a very below-the-belt climate or energy around him and around his future wife before they meet. There will be a clandestine covert mission to cause a simple woman to take rubbish in her stride. Ayochata nje in nonsense. And there will also be a mission to go and marry a wealthy man to a typical kind of woman that tends to chase like she is a shark in the ocean. Wealthy men. Like, I don't even know why wealthy men allow themselves to fall into the trap of these slay queens, but they deserve it. Because they feel like they're carnal. And they pride themselves on being able to sleep with anyone that comes and goes. But when you are godly, and the Lord has awarded you with that much wealth, you will know that, like I said, slay queens are going to conveniently pitch, go parking lot thing when you're going home. And they're going to conveniently drop their files of papers, wearing bum shorts, very snug outfits, so as to titivate his taste buds. They are going to conveniently rock up at the restaurant where he has lunch every day. They are going to conveniently move into the house opposite his holiday getaway. They are going to conveniently, you get my point. Until this guy starts to think, Uti Lana, this is it. They are used to it, Lamatota, and not the other way around. And understand the desire for a man to not only pursue a woman, but to also end up with the right kind of girl, especially when he is godly, is lofty enough for him to hire a plain-faced, secretary, so as not be stumbled. You have no idea what godly men, are prepared to go through, what lengths they're prepared to go through to find bone of bone, flesh of flesh. No idea. Because the things of God are foolishness to the man who is perishing. People don't understand it. And so they will look at a billionaire or a millionaire, literally turned 42, single, and think, God, dude, with all this money, why aren't you making babies? Well, if that man is born again, it is because more than even regular middle-class godly men, he is striving against a Delilah that is money hungry. We are living in 2 Timothy 3 Boulevard. Lovers of pleasure, lovers of money. In the last days, perilous times will come, for men will be lovers of themselves, lovers of pleasure, lovers of self, lovers of money, boastful, proud, disobedient to parents, etc. So a society full of women that act like they're humble when they're not is rife when the man in question that they want to land in Gun is godly. They will pitch conveniently at his church. They will pretend that they've been doing the things of God for a minute. They will lie about their celibacy. They will like Papa. So a man like that needs to know that he knows that Lomfazi is not claiming to have been celibate for 5 years, but she's been, the last time she had sex was 4 months ago. He needs to know that he knows that her profession on her lips is true about what she says about God, because like I said, women go to violent lengths to land rich men, great lengths, to a point of lying about chastity, about church life. They will literally create a mock-up situation like this, the set of a comedy show. It'll look like a real house, but then when the lights turn off and you go to the studio, you realize, oh no, this is not a real house, it's an act. She will fix her life around and everything in her ecosystem so as to convince this guy of something she's not. The millionaire. There was actually a short done on TikTok by this one white girl who gave confessions as to how she landed her husband, who was, I guess at the time, her boyfriend. She found out what this guy likes to read. She went to his Facebook. It's called, it was covered by Amala Epoknobi, and I think the title of her video, I watched it a couple of months ago, was women are now some version of catfish. Like, they are catfishing men. But instead of how they look physically, they are catfishing them with hobbies, like catfishing people with interests, catfishing people with things that you don't really like, but that you will research and get very deep into understanding or pretending that you like just because you're trying to land a guy. And this woman went on TikTok and basically confessed that she catfished her husband into liking her. She found out what books he likes to read. And then when they went on a date, she went and bought those books, put them on her shelf, read it. Over for lunch, for dinner at her apartment, he would be like, oh, I see you like this particular author. So what is your take on ABC? And this chick is out just speaking to this dude like she is genuinely into this author. And she wasn't. Well, the man did marry her. It worked. The man did marry her. It worked. And because it worked, it is precisely the reason why wealthy, godly men have to be super careful. Because a person will literally be out here reading Grudem's systematic theology over 3 weekends. Unobala John MacArthur study Bible over a month and memorize stuff and spit it out verbatim, like cribbing in a test, and super impress a dude with big language without there being no fruit to account. Because you can't observe the fruit, you're only hearing the talk. And then start to attend church. Start to have a brethren around, left on the right. Start to, and convince a godly man that she's godly when she's not. Because she can spit a whole bunch of Christian knees. She will be frustrating in the sense that her fruit will not flow naturally. In the sense that she will not actually truly be kind. She will not be love, joy, peace, gentleness, kindness, long-suffering, self-control, goodness, and faithfulness. Against these there is no law. These are built by sanctification over time. They grow from strength to strength. And they become part and parcel of who you are. They become second nature, such that when you exhale and inhale, that's the breath that comes in and out of your mouth. When you wake up from your slumber, you're basically thinking it. You are it. You are in him. You move in him. You live in him. You have your being in him. So godliness cannot be faked, meaning that ungodliness manifests. So these women will eventually become frustrating to these men because of a lack of kindness. They will be unsavory in certain respects. They will still have certain desires, lifestyle insistences, like a certain worldliness that just is not going to shake off them. They will be who they are, but with a whole bunch of Christianese on their tongue. But when you have duped a man long enough with Christianese on your tongue, sometimes he can think that, this is two people getting married that are both sinners, so the issues that I have with my fiance, it's just two sinners getting married. Nobody's perfect. And then you find yourself unequally yoked with an unbeliever, a woman that's not really saved. The signs and the fruit were there, evident, before you got married. But she spoke so much Christianese and had read so much systematic theology, had listened to so many of the authors that she read on your Facebook page you like, that you imagined there is no way under heaven that this is not mine. Bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. But you see, that trickery against Christian men and women, respectively, vice versa, depending on who's tricking over here. More so is it steamy. More so is it haughty in wealthy men. Because listen, worldly women, just like worldly men, also have a mindset, I'm not gonna wait for sex until marriage. It's too taxing to wait. But I need to test the goods before I'm all up in there. But you must not forget that worldly women are prepared to marry old men that they're not attracted to, that have got halitosis, that are practically on a deathbed. Remember Anna Nicole Smith? Because they've got money. You remember Hugh Hefner? Remember Hugh Hefner and Girls of the Playboy Mansion? Yeah. When a man has money, a woman will be prepared to waive having sex for however long it takes and claim that she is prudish, chaste, and pure and is unprepared to have sex before marriage. Even though with a regular middle-income dude, she would have been like, what if you disappoint me in the bedroom? I get a Johannesburg that's not prepared to satisfy my needs in the bedroom. But if he's got money, he is just another Hugh Hefner. He is just another Anna Nicole Smith husband. He is just another wealthy dude that a woman is willing to do anything to end up married to. A marriage of transaction, so they will also wear chastity. This is a man, therefore, that will not necessarily dodge the bullets that many godly men dodge, who don't want to have sex before marriage. Women be out here like, he doesn't want to satisfy me. Yeah, you're not going to get easily passed up when you've got money. You're not going to be just walked right by when you've got money. Women are going to see what they can do to get in there anyway, because your money is going to influence them. It's going to be their motivator to essentially pretend that they're cool with waiting. Because at the end of the day, what they're trying to cash in on here is your money and not so much what you can do in the bedroom. It doesn't matter, because understand that Anna Nicole Smith was not marrying that old man because he was just such a stud and she was so attracted to him. It was the money. It was the money. It was the money. Just as it was the case with Hugh Hefner too. It was the money. And so whether or not you're a shriveled up old man, don't matter. It don't matter. Well, I've told you before that the Lord showed me that my husband is wealthy. He's wealthy. A godly man is sought after first and foremost in jail because they don't cheat, or at least they are more reliable than wealthy men. A moneyed man is sought after just period because he's got money. The combination is lethal in the sight of worldly women. They will all be trying to scratch at his toes and bring down buildings to get to him. Meaning that if this man is still waiting single, unfettered by every activity around him, when he finds me, he's not going to beat around the bush. He's not going to toil around on the spot, draw hearts on the floor, contemplate, deliberate, pace the floor, wonder should I, shouldn't I, because why wouldn't he? When all that has been happening the past however many years is these random females throwing themselves at him, anza balecha, deliberately going out of his way to hire a secretary that's a grandmama, because he doesn't want to be stumbled. That's the kind of man that I'm waiting on the Lord for. And when I prophesy things like this, when I prophesy stuff like this as to what the Lord is showing me, people then go really crazy below the belt and they hook up such hard knock nasty witchcraft that I don't know whether I'm coming or I am going. They ascertain that I cannot breathe, and they are trying to now literally marry me to the very opposite of what my husband will be. So it's been all these years, Karabo. If you had given up or settled maybe halfway in your sorrow, you might have married some decent middle income dude, like some, what do you call this, middle class guy. Yeah, now you're gonna take even money at all, just so you can have some kind of a semblance of a normal life. Like a man that will not be able to give you the life that you need. Mamelang. First and foremost, I had a bullet point list that I gave to God as to what I want in a husband. And among the things I asked for, understand, was not wealth. I did not ask the Lord for a rich guy. I asked the Lord for a godly man. I asked the Lord for a black man. I asked the Lord for anything other than Zulu and Xhosa. I asked the Lord for a man that is going to be compatible to me in terms of dreams, ambition, so we can go and build a future together. I asked the Lord for a man that's going to love school like I love school, studying education. I asked the Lord for a man that's going to have the same passion to reach the youth for Christ, a man that's going to have a leadership flair, a knack, a man that's going to have ministry, involved in ministry, even though he is not fully invested in ministry, in the sense that it's not necessarily his 9-to-5 job. He's not a pastor, but he certainly has something of ministry, like he's writing godly books, or he is a missionary, or he has a YouTube channel, Christianity, or he blogs. Like, basically I wanted a male version of me, right? And all the amassment of wealth, I figured we will build together. We will grow together. We will just do whatever we need to do, build our empire together. Not once did I ever tabulate in that, I mean, goodness, my bullet points were many. It was like a 3-page document. I was very detailed. There is not even a single line item therein that says, give me a rich guy. I've never been that girl. I've never been that girl. I sought the Lord for a man with whom I could have a purpose. And just like with Solomon, you know how Solomon, the Lord gave him an option to, he said, when Solomon was praying, he was to pray for whatever he wanted from God. And instead of Solomon asking for great wealth, riches, and all the like, he asked the Lord for wisdom. And so God gave him, yes, wisdom, but he also gave him great wealth. That's why it's written in God's word that he will provide for you exceedingly and abundantly above anything at all that you could ever think to ask for. We live in a society, in an era and age of lovers of money, pleasure, like all that, lovers of self. And if a person goes to God, if a woman goes to God and petitions him for a rich husband, you're unrefined, poverty-stricken in spirit, unsanctified. You are yet to know what the things of God are truly about, and you're not focusing on the right thing. So understand that which you want is likely going to elude you. It's written in the book of James that you ask and do not receive. No, sorry. You desire but do not ask, and so you kill, but you don't receive because you don't ask. And when you do ask, you ask so you can spend it on your passions. So the Lord has a thing about basically a filthy heart when you're asking for stuff. You don't get to rock up on your knees, bash them on the floor, and pray to God to give you a rich husband. Because why? I mean, what is the mindset behind that? There is a fleshy, carnal, corporeal, very nonsensical mindset behind a woman that will flat out go on her knees and ask God for a rich guy. You evidence that you are in no position to steward one, should you get one. So when the Lord then gives a woman that's never asked for a wealthy husband, and when the Lord gives a 40-year-old woman the most eligible bachelor in the street, that's the kind of stuff that causes people to lose their minds and hook up such below the belt witchcraft like, while I am slap bang in the center of an excruciatingly embarrassing poverty. I am already poor. I've endured poverty for a decade. Because people put me in harm's way. They kept me poor. And then they said, the only kind of man, because he's going to look left and right and say, look at all of these other guys, how they look at you like you ain't jack. They're so classist. I can love you, baby. But when you look at this guy claiming to want to love me, baby, Rap sheet, ke tlo trapiwa. Rap sheet, I might even get killed. Rap sheet, I will get given an STD. Rap sheet, I will have to take care of him and his many children. Little big mama that thing. Rap sheet, previously married before, so I'd be an adulteress. Rap sheet like proper. All other fruit are lacking. Never mind just the fact that he's poor. The issue here, the thing that is making me reject that broke deadbeat, is not that I can amali. It's that he is ungodly in the worst way. But I've got like a few of such ungodly men, and now they're becoming less and less valuable materially too. I went from being wanted by perhaps maybe middle income. Some guys were wealthy, mara nebang bata as nyatsi, side piece, mistress, and in one instance, isite